The Who Raised You Foundation, non-charity for non-effort. Some parents need to fill out a performance review. This episode is sponsored by the Who Raised You Foundation. Our mission? Asking the one question society is allergic to. Did the parents, do anything?
The parental warning light. An embarrassing product. On purpose. This video is brought to you by the parental warning light, the device that flashes red when your kid starts Googling homemade weapons and watching 8-hour rage podcasts. The parental warning light. It's not malfunctioning. You just ignored it.
Parental probation. Some of you'll need supervision too. This episode is sponsored by Parental Probation, the world's first service that reminds certain parents that free-range neglect is not a parenting style. Parental probation. If your child's becoming a villain, someone should probably check you too.
Listen, I'm going to say something that apparently in this country is a controversial take. Monsters that walk among us are rarely born, they are raised. But we don't like to say that, do we? Because it means looking at the home, and the home is sacred, untouchable, a private kingdom. Even when the kingdom is on fire, we love to blame the school, the streets, the internet, the music, the friends, the games, the TikTok algorithm, the nebulous society. Anything except the people who shared a roof, a dinner table, and a DNA strand with the perpetrator. And now we have this Southport tragedy. Parents grieving children who will never come home, and they are rightfully asking the question that terrifies this country. Why should the parents of the killer be allowed to walk away untouched? Oh, but the chorus begins, doesn't it? They didn't know. They couldn't have foreseen it. No one can control what their teenager does. Excuse me, are we serious? Or are we doing that thing where we pretend ignorance is innocence? You don't just accidentally raise someone capable of brutality, radicalization, aggression, lack of empathy, entitlement, rage. These things don't spontaneously generate like mold in a damp bathroom. They grow under heat. They grow under neglect. They grow under willful blindness. They grow when adults choose comfort over accountability inside their own home. Let me be very clear. Unless a parent was physically absent, institutionalized, or proven to have zero access to the child, then yes, accountability is owed. Not prison out of revenge, prison out of precedent. Because right now the message is, raise a murderer and shrug. Raise a terrorist and sigh. Raise violent cruelty and say, wow, kids these days are crazy. No. Kids these days are products of their environments, just like every generation before them. But Britain loves a myth, especially the myth of the isolated bad apple, because if the apple was grown in the orchard of your culture, your community, your parenting norms, then you have to accept that the orchard is rotting, and oh, we can't have that. So we outsource the blame to anything else. Video games, rap music, mental health, immigration, TikTok, challenges, bad influences. As if your child became a murderer after one Fortnite match and a Discord call. No. This kind of violence has a curriculum. It has lessons, years of them. And somebody was there while those lessons were being learned. Somebody walked past the closed door. Somebody saw the behavioral changes. Somebody watched their child withdraw into darkness and thought, he's just going through a phase. A phase? A phase? Teenage mood swings are a phase. Dyeing your hair blue is a phase. Developing a God complex, a hatred of human life, or fascination with weapons is not a phase. That is a warning siren. And these parents, they weren't deaf. They were comfortable. Comfort is a hell of a drug. Comfort allows denial. Comfort allows avoidance. Comfort allows you to watch your child descend into something feral and just sigh because holding them accountable would mean holding yourself accountable. And that's what this country avoids at all costs. Self-reflection. If a parent is violent, if a parent is emotionally absent, if a parent sees themselves as a friend instead of a guardian, if a parent refuses to discipline because I don't want them to hate me, then you are not parenting, you are witnessing. and witnessing a child spiral is negligence, let's talk culture. We live in a time where parenting has become performance art. Post the birthday photos, post the new trainers, post the Disneyland trip, post the matching pajamas at Christmas. But what about conflict resolution, emotional scaffolding, boundary setting, accountability mechanisms, moral development, silence, dead air, buffering screen? Because those things don't get likes. Those things don't get praise. Those things are hard. Everyone wants the aesthetic of parenting. No one wants the responsibility that comes with it. Parents want credit for existence, not effort. And then when tragedy erupts, everyone acts confused. Oh my God, who could have imagined? The parents. That's who. Because I refuse to believe a person capable of violence woke up one Tuesday morning and said, "Actually, I think I'll become evil today." There are signs: emotional disconnection, sudden fascination with nihilism, fantasies about power and revenge, obsessive worship of violent ideology, cruelty to animals, enjoyment of suffering, no capacity for empathy, God complexes, entitlement, manipulation disguised as charm. You saw something, you just didn't act. And we're supposed to just let that slide? No, absolutely not. We are entering a new era of accountability. If your child commits a violent act, the investigation should also examine the home environment, parental behavior, parental negligence, emotional climate, digital access and oversight, disciplinary structures, warning signs ignored, attempts at intervention or lack thereof. If parents are found to have ignored threats, enabled access to weapons, encouraged extremist views, failed to supervise, dismissed known risk factors, then they are not bystanders, they are accomplices by neglect. And I know some of you are sweating now. Are you saying parents should be punished for their children's actions? Yes, when those actions were foreseeable. Because we already do this in other contexts. If you own a dog and the dog attacks someone, you are responsible. If your car causes harm because you neglected to maintain it, you are responsible. If your business injures an employee because you ignored safety measures, you are responsible. So why does responsibility suddenly evaporate when the object of harm is a child you raised? We treat pets and machinery as more regulated than parenting. Does that sound sane to you? This is not about revenge. This is about culture. If parents knew there were legal consequences for raising violent humans, safeguarding would improve, warning signs would not be ignored, schools would be taken seriously, therapy would not be seen as shame, discipline would return, community involvement would return, elders would be respected again, interventions would happen sooner, emotional intelligence would become a priority, because the stakes would be real. Right now, the stakes are, be a terrible parent and maybe nothing happens. That is madness. The Southport parents who lost their children are not asking for vengeance. They are asking for sense. Because in a healthy society, a tragedy like this becomes a turning point. But Britain loves turning points in theory. In practice, and Britain loves shrugging and saying, well, nothing can be done now. No, something can be done. We can rewrite the expectation of parenting. Not just love, not just provision, not just shelter, not just food, but moral cultivation, emotional modeling, accountability, courage. Because parenting is not passive, it is deliberate. Children do not form character in a vacuum. They absorb what is around them. If they grow violence, ask what watered them. If they grow hatred, ask what taught them. If they grow cruelty, ask what nurtured it. If they grow into tragedy, ask who left them unsupervised with it. Because someone did. Monsters don't just appear. They are homegrown. If you raise a child, you're not just raising a person. You are raising a future force that enters the world. That force can be a healer, a thinker, a builder, a protector, a community member, or a destroyer. You don't get to pretend you had no influence on the result. Parenting is the first government, the first school, the first universe. And if that universe collapses, the debris hits all of us. Hold them accountable, not left, not right, just real.
Consequences.com where accountability finally logs in. Today's video is sponsored by consequences.com, a proud educational resource reminding the public that I didn't know is not a parenting strategy. Consequences.com. If your kid is building a manifesto, maybe, I don't know, notice